Today's testimony at the synagogue shooting trial centered largely around DNA evidence.
And today concluded 2 weeks of testimony so far. Here's KDKA's Andy Sheehan.
Well, there is no question the gunman is responsible for this atrocity. Even his defense team admitted that in open court. What is in question is whether he'll face the death penalty, and the government has built its entire case around that aim. In these first 2 weeks of trial, the prosecution has been fulfilling its burden of proving the defendant is responsible for the deaths of 11 people and the wounding of several others. And while there is little doubt of that, the government has another aim, showing he willfully, knowingly, and brutally slaughtered innocent people, a hate crime based on their religion, and that his actions merit the death penalty. To that end, the government has focused on the human toll, presenting the heart-wrenching testimony of survivors of the attack who witnessed the brutal slaying of their fellow congregants and narrowly escaped death themselves. And the government does not spare the jury graphic images, crime scene and autopsy photos, saying they were necessary to establish the force and malice of the defendant who shot the defenseless victims at close range with an AR-15 military-style rifle.
It's necessary for the very purpose of this whole proceeding, which is to move this jury to the death penalty.
With the first of the police witnesses, it was clear this was no Uvalde. Close to a dozen police officers testified they did not hesitate and went immediately and directly into the building and towards the gunfire, several paying a heavy price for their valor, including SWAT officer Anthony Burke, who testified late today. He was shot, was off the job for more than a year, and is never fully recovered. Bowers is charged specifically with causing bodily injury to safety officers. The government will later argue the death penalty is merited on all of these accounts. Next week, the government is expected to focus on the defendant's planning and the reasons behind the attack, his hatred, and his immersion into conspiracy theories about Jewish people on the dark web. Now, the government will try to establish the defendant was driven by this hatred and knowingly committed this atrocity. Testimony resumes on Monday morning. Reporting at the U.S. Courthouse downtown, Andy Sheehan, KDKA News.